Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on Newsx. Let's get started with our big focus this hour. Close to 150 MPs in the Lok Sabha and around 100 lawmakers in the Rajya Sabha have submitted separate notices to the presiding officers of both the houses seeking impeachment of Allahabad High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Varma, from whose residence burnt wads of currency notes were found. A multi-party delegation submitted the notice bearing the signatures of 145 Lok Sabha MPs for the removal of Justice Verma under Articles 124, 217 and 218 of the Constitution to the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, while a separate notice was handed over to Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar by 63 opposition lawmakers of the upper house. Apart from the 63 signatures submitted by the opposition, BJP MPs too have submitted over 40 signatures in support of the motion, taking the total signatures in the Rajya Sabha across 100. This is the sixth time impeachment proceedings have reached this advanced stage for a sitting judge in the higher judiciaries of the country. While the previous 5 attempts have failed due to judges resigning before proceedings could come to a conclusion, or due to the motions failing to gain the tough requirements of special majorities, this attempt is seeking to mark the first instance of a sitting judge being removed in independent India. Joining us for a conversation on the subject now is Mukul Rohatgi, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court of India. Mukul Rohatgi, welcome. Thank you for being with us on Newsx. What is the process for Justice Verma's impeachment, sir?
So look, the position of a judge of the High Court of the Supreme Court is a constitutional position. In other words, a judge is not a government servant. He is not governed by normal service rules. He is governed by the Constitution. Therefore, a judge cannot be tried and dismissed like a government servant after a departmental inquiry. So the law provides that a judge of the Supreme Court or the High Court can only be dismissed by a process of impeachment. And the process of impeachment requires 50 MPs of Rajya Sabha or 100 MPs of Lok Sabha to file a motion seeking impeachment before the Speaker or the Chairman, as the case may be. Once that is done, and I believe it has been done in this case, the motion will have to be admitted by the Speaker or the Chairman, maybe after it, and a debate may take place. And after that, the process has to start by appointing an inquiry committee consisting of 3 members, namely a judge of the Supreme Court, a judge of the High Court, and maybe a jurist. That committee will then act as a disciplinary committee which will examine the judge, which will examine his evidence, which will examine the evidence of the prosecution, so to say. Witnesses will be examined and cross-examined in detail, and a report shall be prepared by that committee. After that report is prepared, it will be sent to the House. The House will debate on the report and take a call.
Yes.
So once the House agrees, then the impeachment shall happen, and if it so happens, the judge shall stand removed from his post. Till that time, the judge will remain a judge of the High Court, even though he is not discharging any functions, as the case may be.
Okay.
And it is that inquiry which will give a chance to the judge concerned to clear his name or to show and prove that he is not guilty of any misdemeanor. That is the...
Okay. Do you back then the unanimous, across party line support given to this motion? Do you believe that is a good precedent, seeing that it has bipartisan support?
So whether it is unanimous or not unanimous, ultimately it will depend on the 3-member inquiry committee and its report.
Right.
Suppose the report says that the man is not guilty, then obviously the impeachment will fail. But let me tell you, not a single judge has been impeached in independent India till today. Some impeachment motions have happened, some judges have resigned, etc., etc. Somewhere the motion didn't work. But I must tell you one more thing. In this case, before the impeachment motion, which is the sole prerogative of Parliament, there is what is called an informal committee, which is appointed by the Chief Justice of India. The Chief Justice of India has no role in the impeachment. He appoints under a judge's resolution, which has no legal backing, a committee which is supposedly a fact-finding committee.
Yes.
In this case, a committee was so appointed of 3 judges. That committee has given a report and a recommendation that the judge was guilty because he was unable to explain the presence of money in his house. And that report went to the Chief Justice of India. And within a matter of hours, the Chief Justice of India endorsed that report and sent it to the Prime Minister and to other functionaries with his imprimatur saying that action should be taken against the judge, etc. Let me tell you, legally, this informal committee's report has no legal basis, and neither the letter of the Chief Justice written to the Prime Minister
Yes.
has any legal basis, and it can cast no pressure on Parliament because Parliament is sovereign and supreme, and Parliament is guided by its own committee, which I said will now be appointed.
Okay.
So this is what has happened in the last couple of months, which Justice Varma has chosen to challenge by filing a petition in the Honorable Supreme Court of India.
Okay. What precedent then will this possible impeachment set going ahead, Mukul Rohatgi?
Well, if the impeachment goes through, it will show that there is no place for misdemeanors or corruption in the judiciary, and there is no tolerance in that regard. And that is why, just like you dismiss a government servant for corruption,
yes,
you will dismiss a judge for corruption.
Okay. What then now needs to happen so that the larger perception of India's judiciary system is also not affected?
Look, this process of impeachment is a British hangover. According to me, this is too laborious, too complicated and too cumbersome. And that is why no impeachments have really happened. There is no gainsaying about corruption in judiciary. There is corruption. There have been instances at various levels.
Yes.
Now, to deal with these corruptions and or issues of misdemeanor or malpractices of some import, there should be a speedier system, less cumbersome, not requiring 2/3 of the majority in Parliament and all that. So that has to be devised. The Constitution may have to be amended.
Okay.
So that there is some fear of the law in the concerned quarters, that people are not going to get away. And that should be transparent. And it is to that end that the Government of India must work to make a system which is simpler, smoother and transparent.
All right. Let me also thank you there, Mukul Rohatgi, for joining us on the broadcast, because we have another guest also live with us, Harsh Singh Dahiya, Advocate Supreme Court of India, joins us live as well. Harsh Singh Dahiya, what do you make of this incident, regarding Justice Verma's impeachment now? The ball has been set in motion in Parliament. What do you make of this precedent-setting, move by legislators and parliamentarians yesterday?
Uday, first of all, I would like to point out that the whole chain of events has been very sad. It is a very sad precedent being set through this. But impeachment is important to show zero tolerance against corruption. And if and when this impeachment goes through, this will be unprecedented. No impeachment has gone through in India so far. In all previous cases, like mentioned by you, either the judges have resigned before conclusion of the impeachment, or the impeachment has failed politically. And if we talk about the political implications, then I would like to make it clear to the viewers that the parliament's role in impeachment is not a threat to separation of powers, but it is a constitutional safeguard. Article 124, subclause 4, and Article 218 empowers the parliament to act when judges are found guilty of proven misbehavior or corruption, and such is the case now. As rightly pointed out by my senior, Mr. Rohatgi, in his address to the viewers, that there was a judge's report that was put forward to the public by the Chief Justice, and it was sent to the government as well. The three judges committee clearly mentioned in their report that they have found sufficient evidences which proves that Justice Verma is guilty of having cash because he was unable to explain where that cash came from in his house. So they have already submitted their report, and basis of that, the parliament has taken note of that, and now several members of the parliament of the both houses are moving this motion against Justice Verma for impeachment. And if this goes through, this will truly be historical, and because something of this sort has not happened. But it is also important that such safeguards are put in place so that even the judiciary knows that nobody is beyond the arms of justice, and anyone who indulges in corruption or is unable to explain their stance, where they got, like in this particular case, where Justice Verma is unable to explain where this money came from. And there have been clear videos of that as well, which was made viral initially when this cash was found. So it is very important for the government and for the judiciary both to give out a message to everyone in all sections of society that nobody is beyond the arms of law, and anyone who will indulge in corruption, and that too while sitting at a position of power, they will be brought to justice.
Okay, let me quickly also rope in Ashwini Dubey, AOR Supreme Court, who's also joining us now live. Ashwini Dubey, this is clearly a precedent setting maneuver by MPs yesterday. The ball has been set rolling. Do you believe it is a good precedent? Also, Ashwini Dubey, what is the road ahead for this impeachment motion?
Uday, since there is a provision in the Constitution and it was made by our Constitution framers, that whenever there would be the allegation of misconduct or any other misdeed which is detrimental to the basic conduct of the functions of the judge, and judge who is the constitutional authority, that is Supreme Court or High Court, then there is an impeachment procedure. So saying that something has come out of blue moon, that's completely not, here it is not the case. Number two, it is not the case that nothing has been found. The question here is, nobody is above the law. If nobody is above the law, and procedure says that impeachment has to take place in order to bring the truth, because it is not only Justice Varma may be entitled for keeping that cash. How many people are involved into that? And in order to investigate further, impeachment, then registration of FIR, and further investigation. Because unless and until the main accused, that is Mr. Justice Verma, as of now, who is being portrayed, unless he is on the post, there can't be any proceedings. For that, either he has to resign, or through impeachment proceedings, he has to leave that. Now, further investigation is important in order to reveal the truth, and which every person of this country want to know, that those are whose money which was found in his house, and what is the nexus, what was the larger nexus. So in order to bring the larger nexus and proximate link with the money givers, the money which was found in his house and the favors which was done, it is required that should done. Number one. Number two, in past also there were attempts. V. Ramaswamy was one of the first judges amongst whom impeachment proceedings initiated, though he resigned. And motion was brought in the Lok Sabha but failed. Soumitra Sen of Calcutta High Court resigned in 2011 after Rajya Sabha passed the impeachment motion. Now, Uday, you, me, and everyone wants to know that those who are holding that constitutional position, the judges who are there to discharge the public functions, duties, and also in order to ensure that justice will prevail, why, when the question comes of their misdemeanor or their misconduct or their the allegations against, why it can't be a process? And that is the process. Only process is in the house, upper house and lower house. And that is why you see, when the impeachment has been filed, the majority of the total membership that house, then the procedure is the motion for removal is required to be adopted by each house of the parliament, majority of the total membership. An initial requirement, which was the 100 members of the Lok Sabha and 67 or 50 members of the Rajya Sabha, they have signed it. Now a majority of at least 2/3 of the members of that house present, if they will vote, and if the motion is adopted by the majority, then motion will be sent to the other house for the adoption. Now it is completely ball in the hands of the lawmakers. Now lawmakers have to look into it. So now, what if illegality look filed? Justice Yashwant Varma has also filed a petition in Supreme Court. Let's see what happens to the outcome of that petition. That is also question, because if you see, the impeachment proceedings have been started, so that has become infructuous. What recourse he would adopt tomorrow, that is also speculative. We will discuss over that. But now here, the nation wants to know that whose money was this, and what favors were given, and what is the proximate link. And for that, impeachment motion is required. Over to you, Uday.
Okay, let me
Yes.
quickly, in fact, also draw in AK Singh, Supreme Court advocate, who's also live with us. AK Singh, what do you make of this, of this precedent-setting, maneuver that we've seen play out in Parliament yesterday? The ball has been set in rolling now for the impeachment of Justice Verma. What happens next? Do you believe also this is something which is going to be precedent setting for other potential judges as well? This is, remember, a sitting High Court judge that we're speaking about here, AK Singh. Okay, I think we've lost AK Singh. Also what we've seen, Mr. Dahiya, this time is that bipartisan support has come in. That is also something unique about this motion. Bipartisan support has come in yesterday.
Absolutely. As you mentioned at the beginning of the report, that the motion in the lower house was brought in by members of both opposition and the ruling party. And in the upper house, Rajya Sabha, the motion was brought in by mostly members of the opposition. So definitely this is very unique. And in most likely cases, the impeachment will go through. And as rightly pointed by my friend and my colleague, Mr. Dubey as well, that this impeachment is extremely important to get to the truth. If and when the impeachment happens, then only any further proceedings by the police or by the investigation agencies can take place. And then only an FIR can be registered, and then any further investigation can take place. And I would like to reiterate, which Mr. Dubey has clearly pointed out, that it is very important to get to the bottom of this, that whose money was it, which other lawyers were involved in this, is there a lobby that is working in Supreme Court or in high courts which is trying to dictate judgments. And to get to that, this impeachment will play a big role in the complete process. Over to you there.
Yes, indeed. Let me take that back to you as well, Ashwini. The point, of course, also is through this entire exercise, we need to ensure that the image of the judiciary as well is rectified amongst the common man, which may have been sullied a bit through this episode.
There is no question of judiciary's image. This is a question of only one judge. The judiciary's image is very clear, impartial, transparent, and those who makes a ruckus over the Twitter or the X does not make judiciary's image tarnish the image, because people have faith in the Indian judicial system, and it's one of the robust and transparent, excellent judicial system of the world, where even the terrorist, knowing that he is the terrorist, gets a fair trial. It is a case where the 2611th Tahavur Rana was brought into this country through extradition from the US, and he is also being given the fair trial, despite the people have died. So it's not that the judiciary's image is at stake. It is the question where a lobby which has ought that judgment or certain judgments on the behalf, by paying the consideration out of that, that is required to be revealed. And for that, it is required that the impeachment motion must be passed and impeachment proceedings have been initiated and President signs it. Now, the second question, Uday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people does not cannot tarnish the image of the judiciary. Sometimes if judgment is in their favor, they say the judiciary is very impartial, transparent. And sometimes if judgment is not in their favor, they start making creation that judiciary is working under somebody's pressure, just judiciary has been completely supportive of a particular party, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. We practice in Supreme Court. We learn each and every day from the judges the way they deliver the judgments. Not in one case. Bails are granted by the Supreme Court. Divorce are taking place by the Supreme Court. That are irritable breakdown of marriages which languishing in the trial court from years to years that the Supreme Court finally comes for the rescue. There are certain cases, if you will see, the people who have come from all down to up to the Supreme Court and the legal aid comes for their rescue, their function. Pro bono lawyers are there who all they are accountable to the Constitution and judicial system. Yes, but here it's a case where the president has to set. The president, as that, despite the constitutional immunity and despite that you have been appointed, if you are guilty, then the law will take its own course. And that is why you see that there had not been there provision in the Constitution, then there would have been a constitutional amendment because their appointment, their oath is as per the Constitution. They are the constitutional authorities. They are immune to the immunity has been given to them in the Constitution. So this is question number 2, which is very important, that when Justice cash has been found from the house of Justice Verma, whose responsibility as per Evidence Act, if we see prima facie, lies? It is of course the owner of the house or the person who is in possession of the control of the entire house. Number 3, the videos. It is not that something has been come out of blue moon. The videos also suggest that the burnt notes, cash was found there. So ultimately, who has given them? All these things are required for the detailed investigation by the one expert investigating agency of our country, the prime investigating agency of the country, and it would be only possible when impeachment takes place, when the FIR is registered and the investigation in detail is conducted, and that brought to the public notice, and those preparators of the crime are taken to the logical end. So that is everyone is looking for. The judiciary is very impartial. This is not tarnishing the entire image of entire judiciary. 1 or 2 persons cannot tarnish the image of such a big judiciary which is coming for the rescue of the common man. Over to you there.
Okay, let me in fact also leave it at that. My thanks to our guests for joining us. We've run totally out of time, I'm being told. Let's slip into a short break.